Chapter 45. Sally woke with a start and lay still, listening in the dark for a few seconds before she dared move or dared to remember last night. Had it really happened? Suddenly the bed shook as something heavy beside her moaned softly and then settled down once again. Sally turned over as slowly as she could, as not to disturb the covers, and came face to face with the sleeping Rupert. Her heart did a somersault, and she had to stop herself from planning a kiss right there on his luscious lips. Then the panic set in. What must she look like? Last night's makeup streaked the pillow, and she could smell her own stale breath. This was not how she wanted Rupert to see her when he opened his eyes. She slid from the bed and tiptoed round the bedroom, collecting her dirty washing, then opening her chest of drawers very carefully and retrieving her one pretty nightdress. She slipped through the bedroom door, closing it silently behind her, and set up camp in the bathroom. It was still early, so she had time to make herself look presentable before Rupert or Dora surfaced. She had a lovely scented bath, washed her hair and lavished half a pot of Dora's body lotion over herself. She even put some mascara on as her eyes were looking decidedly piggy this morning. When she felt presentable, she went into the living room, tidied up a bit, and washed up last night's debris, by which time she was wide awake and starving. However, she didn't want to start breakfast without Rupert. Yes, Rupert, right? She crept back into the bedroom to find him quietly snoring in blissful ignorance of the world around him. Sally climbed back into bed and moved as close as she dared, so that when he did awake, she would be in grabbing distance. She lay there for ages and finally dozed off herself, to be suddenly woken by a yelp as Rupert jumped out of bed. "Oh shit, what time is it?" he said, looking around the room and trying to understand where he was. "Sally, are you awake? Listen, what time is it? I have to get the train to London this morning, and I have probably missed the only direct one there is." He pulled his jeans on and searched for his socks and shoes. Sally scrambled from the bed, feeling her world beginning to crumble. "But you never said anything last night. You never said you were leaving today. What about all your packing and everything?" Sally stood in front of Rupert and took his arms to keep him still. "Why didn't you tell me?" Her eyes were bright with tears. Rupert stopped and looked at the girl in front of him in her crisp white nightie, and light dawned. "Sally, I am so sorry. It never occurred to me. I have been packing all week, and I have got a mate at the Manchester Library Theatre who was driving down this weekend to take a load off my stuff for me. So now I just have a couple of cases. The thing is, I wasn't expecting to be here, this morning, so I need to get back to my flat and pick up my stuff and leave the key, etc." He looked again at Sally's face and realised he had made a huge mistake, completely misread the situation. He took Sally's hand and led her to the bed, and they sat down on the edge. "Sweetheart, I had a fantastic time last night. It was a hoot. You're my best mate, and I know we will be friends forever, but I hope you feel the same, and that you didn't think there was anything else. Well, anything stronger, I mean. Last night was great, but maybe we shouldn't have confused the issue. Sally was hardly listening to him. There was just a loud buzzing in her head. Why didn't he just go? She hated him, hated herself for being so stupid. God, she must look ridiculous sitting here in her fucking vaginal white nightie. She wanted to scream and kick and punch him and everyone. "Just leave me alone," she wanted to shout, but she only managed to stammer, "Don't be daft. Of course I understand. It was great fun, thanks. But you must go. I think you'll be okay for the train if you hurry. Do you want to ring for a taxi? I can do it." Sally went and off a cab and managed to pull herself together. She put the kettle on and filled mugs with coffee. Rupert joined her in the kitchen. 5 minutes for the cab. "Yeah, have a sip of coffee while you're waiting." Sally wandered into the lounge and plumped a few cushions and generally made sure there was a huge space between her and Rupert. "Sally, I do hope we will keep in touch. You've got my number, and hopefully you might consider understudying in the play. It will be great to have you in the company." Rupert waffled on until he was saved by the doorbell. "That will be the taxi. Well, goodbye for now, Sally, and thank you again for last night." He advanced towards her, and Sally felt herself go as stiff as a board. She practically pushed him away from her, saying as brightly as she could, "Yes, it has been a wonderful experience all around. Thanks, Rupert, and good luck." She turned to open the door, and as he passed her, Rupert leaned in and gave her a kiss on the lips. "Maybe another time, another place." Then he was gone. Sally turned and ran to the toilet, where she threw up. She sat there in the bathroom alone for a long time, sobbing into the roll of toilet paper. "If only I could throw up my heart and start again," she thought to herself. "It can't get much lower than this. How did I get it so wrong?" Chapter 46. Good morning, everybody. It's another Monday and another opening of another show. I hope you all are well rested and ready to raise the roof with our Victorian music hall delights. "Blimey, whatever she's on, I want some," whispered Simon to Pete as they swig their habitual post-weekend lucozade. Sarah continued with obvious delights, reveling in her newfound role as director. There is an air of the Butlin's red coat about her, though, commended Charmaine none too kindly. I have been asked by Giles to mention a couple of things this morning. Sadly, Rupert will no longer be with us for the rest of the season due to ill health. We will be sending him some flowers from the company, and Heather will be coming round with a card for you all to sign. We wish him well. Secondly, Giles will be commuting between London and Korea a good deal, finalising the plans for the production of Hamlet in the West End. He apologises profusely, but what with the runner up to Christmas and losing Robert as his assistant, he is very pressed for time. However, I will be stepping in wherever possible. So, you have any queries? Please feel free to ask me. Finally, I have the casting for Within the Willows, which I will pin on the nose board. So now down to business. There will be a vocal warm-up with Tim, and then we will start the technical dress rehearsal and work through the numbers. Hopefully there will be time for a dress rehearsal tonight. Then one tomorrow afternoon as is normal, and then curtains up. Throughout the day, Gwendolyn will see you about your costumes, and anything you have offered from your own wardrobe should be given to her. Thank you. I will be in the royal box if anyone wants me. Sarah swept off the stage as though she had owned and run the theatre all her life. Sally watched her take her large briefcase and script up to the box, calling to Heather to bring her a coffee. Sally followed Heather to the props room. Blimey, this is a bit of a turn-up, isn't it? She asked Heather, who was trying to find a clean mug in the sink. Bloody Lady Muck, grumbled Heather. It has been a nightmare taking orders from her. She has got Giles wound around her little finger, mind you. That was not difficult, as he is in a terrible state. Have you seen him? I don't know what the matter is, but something is up. He was in Manchester all weekend. I only got back this morning, and now he's holed up in his office with Lord Graham. Anyway, Sarah has taken over, and that's that. Be interesting to see if she really does know what she's doing. Tim says she is spot on with all the musical stuff, so let's hope so. Now, how are you, my little flower? You are looking a bit forlorn this morning. Sally really did not want to tell anyone of her humiliation, so she explained away her abject misery as a bit of a cold. Well, take care of yourself, because we are going to need every hand on deck this week with all the comings and going. Sally then went to find Jeremy, who had seemed very distracted at the company meeting. He was in his dressing room, clearing up as usual after the others. God, Jeremy, do you never stop tidying up? Sally embraced her friend. It makes me feel better, he explained. I need to have calm and structure in my surroundings, especially when my life is falling down around my ears. He crumbled sullenly and sat down with his head in his hands. Whatever is the matter? Asked Sally, alarmed, pulling up a chair beside him. Jeremy began to cry. He was taking in air in great gulps, trying but unable to stem the flood. Sally held him and passed him a tissue from time to time, but there was nothing else to be done except let the man cry it all out. Finally, Jeremy sat back exhausted. Sally fetched him some water, and he drank it gratefully. They rested for a few moments in silence until Jeremy seemed to make a decision and start to speak, his voice thin and shaky. Sally, have you by any strange coincidence heard of HIV or AIDS? No, I don't think so. What are they? Basically, it's a disease a bit like cancer. It attacks the cells in the body and destroys its immune system. It is relatively new in this country. Doctors don't know much about it at this stage, but the trouble is, it is a killer. Once infected, a person will almost surely die. Jeremy bit back another surge of tears. It seems to be transmitted sexually, but they don't know for sure, so everyone is panicked and frightened to touch anyone or share anything. It is horrific, Sally. They think it is spread by gay men. But I have been talking to doctors in London, and they say that this is not true, and people must have all the facts before they accuse people of causing such havoc. But so far it seems to be only gay men who are dying, and he started to weep again. Sally stopped him, saying, Hang on a minute, Jeremy. Please, just slow down. What are you trying to say? That you can't have this virus? And what about Eddie? Is he involved in all this? Come on, just take it slowly and tell me everything. She held Jeremy's hand and did not let go until he had finished talking her through everything that had happened, including the visit to see Robert. Sally tried to understand exactly what Jeremy was saying. So you have both had a test, and it is highly likely that you could develop this virus and die. Her voice petered out to a whisper. They have to monitor us over the next few weeks, replied Jeremy. What about your parents? Ventured Sally. Have you talked to them? No, of course not. How can I, Sally? They don't even know I'm gay. Never mind a potential victim of some fucking killer disease. And can you imagine what it's like for Eddie? If Lord Graham finds out his son is gay, he will go crazy. It is the worst possible mess, and I have no idea what we're going to do. Jeremy broke down again. What are you going to do, Giles? Edward Graham was sitting opposite Giles Longfellow in his office. Giles was clasping his head in his hands, wishing it would stop thumping. I will be ruined, Teddy went on. Never mind dead. Oh, Christ almighty. We are not promiscuous, Giles. So how did this happen? The other man groaned. How many more times do you want me to have to grovel, Teddy? I had an affair with Robert last year, and I had no idea he was infected. For whatever reason, he didn't see fit to tell me. Please, God, we are clear. We will know soon enough. Just try and hold yourself together until we know for sure. If Tanya found out and I had been having this affair with you, she would divorce me, said Edward, running all the possible disasters through his head. I doubt it, retorted Giles. I think you will find she knows all about you, Teddy, dear boy, and chooses to look the other way. She has no intention of rocking the family boat because of your peccadilloes. You may be right, sighed Edward, but what about the children? Poor Eddie will never forgive me. This was the moment Giles had been dreading. He had discussed the matter with Jeremy and Eddie, and they had all decided that it would be Giles who broke the news to Lord Graham of his son's affair with Robert and his subsequent relationship with Jeremy, and where that left him in his horror story. Giles was often criticised for being a weak man in many respects, but he accepted his responsibilities to his friends and loved ones, and in this case his love for Edward Graham overcame any qualms he might have had about facing this head on. Teddy, there is no easy way to tell you this, but I want you to know how much I love you and will always be there for you and Eddie. You're going to have to spend a good deal of time with your son over the next few days and weeks, and it is going to hurt you so much I can hardly imagine how you will cope. But you will, because you are a strong and loving man. Teddy, my dearest heart, your son is also gay. He is having a relationship with a young actor from our company here called Jeremy. You have met him. Tragically, last year Eddie had a fling with Robert Johnson, so he too is under threat of this insidious disease, as is his lover. He was stopped by a blood-curdling cry and groans from Lord Graham. The sound was primeval. He sounded like a wounded animal at bay. Giles went to get him a brandy. The man was rocking backwards and forward in his chair, moaning and whimpering and calling out his son's name. Giles made him drink the brandy and waited for it to take effect. He was trying to decide the best plan of action. Should he take Lord Graham home or keep him in a hotel or his flat? Until he was calm and in control and they knew for certain that their futures were going to be. Eddie was back at Crewe Hall. He knew from Jeremy, and it was probably not a good idea for father and son to meet there, so there were not many options. He had not had time to consider his own predicament, which was pretty grim by any standard, but he refused to think about that now. He had to sort out Edward. He can't be gay, Edward was muttering to himself. I won't let him be gay. The Graham name must go on. He will do as I tell him and marry and have a son and an heir as I did. He will stop this nonsense right now. The more he talked to himself up, the angrier he was becoming. Giles took him by the shoulder. Teddy, look at me. Look at me. Can you hear yourself? Really hear? Your son may be dying. You may be dying. Right this minute. We all need each other. We need to love and support each other. Do you hear me? He looked into his friend's eyes and could only see panic, fear and loathing. Damn you, Giles. I blame you for this. You weak man who has always followed his cock. Why couldn't you just keep your dirty habit to yourself? We could have been so happy forever with our secret. Now my son has fallen, and it is your bloody company of actors who have done this. They have seduced him. He started to moan and berate Giles again. Giles took no notice of the accusations because they were so ludicrous, but he could not help but feel a tinge of sadness of how quickly Teddy resorted to type, and how quick he was to stereotype actors. Theatre was to blame for corrupting society with the gay community. All ills rested at their door. The hypocrisy made him sick. Listen, Teddy, you have to pull yourself together and decide what to do for the next couple of days. I don't think you should go home. Why don't we go to London and stay in your flat until we are sure of the outcome of the test, etc., and let Eddie and Jeremy cope with their situation, and then we will have to face whatever life is going to throw at us. Giles suddenly felt so tired and defeated and sad for them all. It was a life or death. Simple as that. Thanks for listening.